Okay, we're at the top of the hour. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. We've got a number, thanks Philip. We've got a number of participants today, so I wanted to get started and let you all know we're just be doing some handoffs and I'll be driving the deck itself. So from an agenda perspective, I want to go through just a staffing update. I hope we've got our illustrious manager, new manager from Sydney, Australia. It's 4 a.m. on Friday. He was very willing, so we may get a word or two from him. That's Sean McCann, who's been with us now just over 4 weeks. We'll get some self-managed updates from Lee. Lyle will update on a number of great things on the GitLab.com side. Including some challenges that customers have given us. And then Tom A will give us a brief update on where we're at with progress on a knowledge sharing approach. We'll finish up with OKR, just a link there from our Q4 perspective, but also some directional thoughts for 2019, and hopefully have tons of opportunity for people to ask questions and us to respond to chat. So on new talent, we've got Akif on the support agent side in EMEA. He started a couple weeks ago. Lewis started early this month. Lewis is up in northwest of the US, so he's on our America West team reporting to Lyle. And then, as I mentioned, Sean McCann, our support engineering from APAC. I don't know, Sean, if you're on, if you want to give us a few words here while we're paused, if he's on. Maybe his alarm didn't go off. All right, we'll keep moving on. So first of all, again, thank you again for recruiting and everybody that's involved in this process. We've got a number of our support agents and support managers obviously doing interviews and tech assessments and that aspect. So this is definitely a team effort, group effort. We're not done yet. We've got more talent. I believe the current plan has us adding 10 more folks in Q1. We've got one already queued up for the January start, I believe, and then we're searching for a support ops specialist. Will be a little bit different ad than our normal support agents, support engineers. So look forward to referrals from y'all. And on to Lee for support on a self-managed side. Lee, are you with us?
Yes, I am. I'll turn on my video too as well. Was just trying to get the deck for Philippe. He said he couldn't access the right slide. So if somebody wants to help him in the chat, go for it. I am Lee Matos, a support engineering manager, Americas East. I also focus on what we're doing in the self-managed support area for our self-managed customers. So I have 3 things that I want to talk about here today. I want to talk about some adjustments we've made to how we're measuring our support, some tooling we're using there, and some new awesome things that the team has built. So specifically around our SLAs, we have adjusted from reporting on first reply and next reply to just reporting on first reply. Now, what that means is this is one of the directions that I made early on at GitLab was to pay attention to both so that the tickets would keep flowing, right? Thinking about tickets as an economy. Now we have a large enough team, we have a structure in place that tickets are flowing. We want to switch to a more industry standard of paying attention to first response time. And we also have some more composite metrics that we're paying attention to. And I'll show you some of these graphs in our next slide. I know y'all love the graphs, so we'll get to that. One of the pieces that we did here as well that we wanted to pay attention to was, well, now that we're focused in on that, on first response time, how to improving that, what are we going to actually change to make sure we hit these goals? So we started building this first response time hawk responsibility. It's going to be a rotation in the team. We're trialing that out in the Americas now to great effect, and we will be expanding that out in the next few weeks. Really, really exciting stuff. The last thing that I want to highlight on this slide, a huge shout out goes to Will Chandler, who wrote this strace parser tool. Now, if you're like, what the heck is that about? strace is a deep Linux debugging tool that we often use with our self-managed customers. It gives you a lot of output kind of really behind the scenes. And this tool makes it really easy to take that data and translate it. And we're really excited about using that. So Stan Hu, check that out because we know how much you love strace, and this should be a great thing for you as well. So Tom, if you want to throw me to the next slide, we will talk about some data. Here is a composite of 3 of our dashboards. On the right-hand side, we can see our CSAT score is at 95% with a few weeks where we've been hitting 100, which is really exciting. We also have our premium first reply time SLA, which is on an uptick. On the left-hand side, kind of in the background, is our new dashboard that we built to pay attention to first response time HAWK and data that we're gathering there to understand how many do we need? Do we need 1 person, 2 person per people per region? How are we going to do this? And then the bottom graph that's kind of inset there is first response time and next response time. And that's something that I wanted to highlight. You could see how closely they were tracking before, and now they diverge. That's intentional because we want to raise up first reply time, also focusing on next reply time. We understand it's going to kind of stagnate as we raise up first reply time. But that's intentional. So wanted to take a second to highlight that and show you that we're still focusing on delivering excellent customer experience in every way that we can. Lyle's up next. I will turn over the floor to you, Lyle.
Hi all, Lyle Kozloff, Support Engineering Manager, Americas West, the Savory to Lee's suite. So on .com, we had a quick transition to 4-hour SLA on Silver. So it happened really quickly, and it kind of caught us off guard. But and initially, it included emergency support, and it wasn't a feature that made sense in the .com context. And so we updated the language on our statement of support to make it clear that that uptime support that we intend by emergency is it's really only for the self-managed side. We also had some struggles meeting the SLA. So you can see that there, when it got introduced, there's quite a lot of a little bit of a dip. But I'm happy to report that over the past 30 days, we have really raised the bar. The .com team has done a fantastic job with many 100% days. And so you can see it's sort of over by my dog, there is the green line is going up above that blue line, which is going to start dragging up our 60-day. I think that if we continue this trend, we're going to be able to hit our target. So I'm really excited about that for the .com team. On the next slide, I wanted to mention that on the .com side, where auto DevOps tickets are really coming frequently. The team is telling me that we're getting at least 1 a day with questions. Sometimes people aren't understanding what they want with auto DevOps. So they're looking at the custom templates. There was some updates to the documentation that sort of shows the auto DevOps template. And now people are trying to modify it without really understanding all of the pieces. And sometimes people just want it to be turned off. So that's a little screenshot from our queue. Related, there's a lot of interest in Kubernetes, but also people don't always know what they're doing. So I know on the self-managed side, Tom A has Docs MR in that puts a lot of banners here's when you should use Kubernetes, here's when you shouldn't. We're seeing a lot of confusion around Kubernetes. Soon, Dave Smith's going to be joining us. Actually, next week, he's going to be joining us to talk about how the .com team can more efficiently participate in the incident management process. So we've had a few incidents this week on .com. At least one of them we saw in the queues before it was actually in the infrastructure, on their radar. And so we want to make sure that we're surfacing those issues quickly, efficiently, and making sure that we're taking things on as quickly as possible. And then just trumpeting some things that the .com team is doing. We're continuing to improve process. This is still a new team that started back in January, and I'm really proud of the work that everybody is doing on the team. So just this week, we have 3 MRs that are taking on some process improvements. And while Jerome, Tristan, and Cynthia have done great work, I'm really proud that everybody on the team has been able to contribute to these sort of improvements, has been looking at the things that we do with an eye for efficiency, and have then been contributing back to overall process, making things better for new hires and for the team in general. The other thing is the .com team is continuing to level up in their ability to engage on hard technical tickets. So we're seeing more and more of these, and if you sort of like look at when the team started to now, everyone on the team has just raised the bar for their ability to engage, raised the bar for their ability to like understand what customers are asking, even when customers don't understand what they're asking themselves. And they've been able to do that while moving tickets forward. So I'm really, again, really proud of the results that they've achieved over this past month. And that's it for me.
Okay, so hi, I'm Tom Atkins. I guess if Lee was the savory and Lyle was the sweet, I'm the after dinner drinks. So you can open your beer now. I look after the support team in EMEA. This just one slide from me. You can go click the links and have a deeper read if you want to investigate this more. This is about us helping to scale support by sharing the knowledge that our team has publicly, rather than that getting locked up in Zendesk in answers to tickets. And so this is something we'll be kicking off properly in Q1. At the moment, we've been doing background research, planning the way to do it and trying some things out. The idea is that our support engineers, if they see something that they think this could be an answer I put in a ticket that solves something for a customer that could be made generic and not customer sensitive information in it and published somewhere publicly, then they should do that. And then we can provide great search to help customers find that before they submit a ticket. So that will help customers self-serve, which makes them happy. And it also saves us time, so we don't have to keep adding people as GitLab grows. We've looked into various ways to do this, and we've landed on the current idea to publish that information on the GitLab forum. So forum.gitlab.com. That's getting a little bit of a reboot at the moment. David Planena's community relations team are starting to answer questions from our free customers there. The support team are focused on paying customers, so we support paying customers with SLAs in Zendesk, but the information we'll publish on the forum will be things that sit probably between docs and private issues in Zendesk. So we will also contribute to docs where we can, but there are certain things that probably don't live in docs, but are little kind of niche workarounds, current issues that people need to solve. And it's a great kind of information we can publish on the forum. And then we want to provide a great search experience to help people find that information. And that's something that's being investigated now. It's cross-team. We're looking at some things with the handbook people and docs team, and to get something in place for that starting Q1. And I've got a little bit of information about how we measure success there. And that's me.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Lyle. Thanks, Lee, in reverse direction. You guys can kind of figure out how I fit into that savory, sweet, and after drink. I just put a last slide here. We'll get to conversation and chat. Quickly, just talking a few things about direction. There's a couple issues to review there. Our Q4 OKRs will be wrapping up maybe this month, maybe January. But our focus is obviously, as you've seen in the previous slides, team performance and accountability, but also process improvement. So let me stop sharing and see if we've got any chat or people want to just pop in and ask questions.
Sean has joined us. So Sean, you want to give yourself an intro? That would be great.
Yes. Good morning for me. Good afternoon for you. I have no idea what time it is for everyone. We've got the sweet, savory, and after drinks. I guess I'm the late night snack with the light glaring in your face. It is just after 3 o'clock in the morning for me, but I thought that I'd join in to say hello. So I am the new support engineering manager for APAC, based out in Sydney. Apologies that I was a few minutes late. The link in the invite that I had wasn't working. So I've been with GitLab now this is week number 5 for me, so still pretty new. GitLab is still loading very, very slowly for me. I'm loving it so far, though. There's some amazing opportunities, which I've already discussed with the two Toms, Lyle and Lee. There's definitely a very bright future ahead of us. I'm really excited to figure out how we can really start to scale and take this to the next level, especially as we start to grow out the presence in the different areas. A little bit about me, I'll be really, really quick. I've been in IT for way too many years. I'm originally South African, lived in London for a number of years before moving over to Australia. I've worked with large enterprise financial institutions over in the UK in IT. Took a step into management when I was with Rackspace, leading the enterprise segment there for one of the technical teams, and have had a couple of different roles here in Australia, both for local telco presences that have their own cloud infrastructure companies, as well as Salesforce before joining. Not sure if there's anything else that anyone would like to know about me, but feel free to ask any questions. It's why I'm here, just to get a feel for how these calls work and understand how I can contribute to them moving forward when I may not be on the calls just because of the time zones.
Thanks, Sean. So let's see. I think we've got one question outside of Sean, are you awake? And that is from Sid. What's an example of a niche workaround that doesn't belong in the docs? Tom, I think you kind of categorize what you think is quick hit. Do you want to try to respond to that, and others can add?
This is Lee here.
Lee.
I threw an answer in the chat for Sid. We have a debugging section on the GitLab docs site that support engineers are using to knowledge share ourselves. And this is one of the big debates we always have, and I'll turn on my video as well, is there's an element of we want to share as much as we can with the customer, but there are some things that support engineers may need to do that a customer should never do without a support engineer with them or telling them to do in advanced debugging scenarios or things like that. But we need to capture and share that knowledge amongst our team. It would be wonderful to put it into docs, but what happens that we've started to see in this past week alone, 2 examples, customers are just copy pasting docs commands and they're saying, hey, wait, why doesn't this work? And they're not updating, example project 1 to be their project name, things like that. And if they're running Rails internals commands like that, then that could cause more of a mess than help. So we're trying to find the right balance of things that we should share, how we share that, how we make things official, but in the spirit of supporting and helping GitLab. So I think that answers the question. Tom Atkins, if you want to add any more color, please.
Yeah, another aspect to that is things that are very time limited. So it might be that something's changed in a recent release. Customers are hitting it right now. We have a workaround or some information for them, and we've had 5 or 6 tickets about it. Let's get that information published on the forum that's then findable via a quick search, and then that issue will likely go away as soon as we roll out an update. That saves us answering extra tickets. It probably doesn't need to live in docs because it will only be relevant for a few weeks, that kind of thing. Another thing we would like to do is we want to reduce friction for publishing for the support team, and docs is getting is a big, complex, carefully structured selection of information, and finding exactly the right place for your information can be hard. So, and often a support engineer wants to get something out quickly. So part of what we want to do as maybe a second phase as well is collate all the information that any support engineers do publish on the forum and rank it by popularity and share a report back to the docs team to say, here's what we published, here's what people are reading. Feel free to add any of this to official docs, if that makes sense.
Thanks, Lee. Thanks, Tom.
So
another question, follow-up, Sid?
Can I give a quick bring up? This is going to be a more extended conversation. Just as a quick response. What's official? I've seen this pattern a few times. It doesn't matter. Anything you publish is official. Every scrap, like official, not official, that is not a distinction that helps. It has not. We've went through this a few times. Customers should only do this with support people present. Totally agree. However, 95% of the usage of GitLab is without people that don't have support. And we should not, so you cannot assume that there will always be a support person. People copy and pasting, that is a problem. However, then have a caution on that page and don't make the caution, use any of the following scripts at your own risk. Like explain what you explained just now, like, hey, just don't copy paste this. You should change example one to say the right thing, etc. Like just saying, hey, it's unofficial or it's dangerous, that doesn't help. Explain why it's dangerous. Tell what you would tell a friend instead of just prefacing it doesn't work. Time limited, it's great. We can update our docs. It's version controlled so that it's time limited. That's fine. No one's going to go back into the forum and kind of remove stuff from it. It's a bigger problem to keep. If we have to keep not just the docs up to date, but also a forum up to date and a public answer thing, that's going to be much harder. Reducing friction to publish, it's a big thing. Like, I think all the support people should have master access on our docs, so hence on our repo. Finding the place takes time. I get that. The thing is, finding the place, it takes time because GitLab is an app that does a lot. Finding the place takes time, but it's really worthwhile because then you are able to surface that information to exactly the right person. So it should be much more frictionless, but finding the place is a really worthwhile activity. And if it's in the wrong place, the docs team can move it. So they should just be looking at the activity stream. And if you put it in the wrong place, it shouldn't be like, oh my goodness, you did something horrible to the docs. It should be, oh, I just moved it to the right place. That's what our documentation people are for. So I think we're setting ourselves up for a giant problem where we tell people, yeah, you can find that in the docs or in the forum on our publicly searchable answers. And I think we haven't cracked the code on making the support people more comfortable with the docs. But I do realize this is a bigger issue. So since also the presentation ran 5 minutes over time, I'm not going to keep up more of your time. But I'll take this up with Eric and we'll have a bigger conversation around this.
Okay, thanks, Sid. Any other questions? We've got a couple minutes left.
Yeah, Tom, in regards to your knowledge sharing, and I think Tom Atkins covered this a little bit, was having a better user experience for a knowledge base. Is that sort of on the roadmap, and when can we sort of have something to give to customers that is more user-friendly?
Yeah, what we're trying to do is create the content first and then give them access to where, like through the support portal that allows them to start to type and get links to potential answers, right? But we have to kind of create that content to make sure the potential answers are there and then find the right search engine to allow us to get to the various layers of content like the docs. So,
will that require a support portal account, or could it just be a generic knowledge base?
My direction right now is mostly generic, right? I don't think that we're going to lock that in just yet. It may be down the line that we view that as a value add or something from a service level perspective, but right now it'll be open.
Perfect, thank you.
Sure. Thanks, John. All right, I think unless there's any other questions, I wish you all a fantastic Thursday or Friday in the APAC sense, and talk to you all later. Thank you all.